Hey, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute. I have a fantastic comedian and an even better human being. Steve Goldberg is back on the show. Steve, thank you so much for coming back.
For having me.
You're like a fiend for punishment, I think.
I'm a Jet fan, so yeah.
Well, you jumped ahead there because we made a deal the first time you were on that when the Jets make the playoffs, you're going to come back. Do you remember that?
I remember that. I remember that. I
and,
certainly
and
remember that.
yeah, the
Every
Jets.
year, the fantasy, right? It's like you think you're gonna. It's like when you were single, and when I was single and walked into a bar, I'm gonna go home with the most beautiful woman, and you went
I,
home alone.
I got
That's
to
the
be
thing with your
honest. I
fantasy.
honestly thought the Jets were going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, well, that's where they trick you. They trick you. They deceive you. They mold their. Oh, I hate them.
One of my friends is a Jets fan, and he walks around. He always goes, "VL." He went on a rant about Brett Favre. The Jets screw up every quarterback they get. They think they're going to get a quarterback and fix things. They break, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. He went, oh my god,
No, they do, and then they get rid of their quarterbacks, and their quarterbacks get to the playoffs, right?
right, right,
Sam Donald and what's his
yeah,
name,
yeah,
Geno
yeah.
Smith.
All right, well, let's move on because the first time I have to be honest, Steve. I haven't been doing these that long, and I get nervous, especially a comedian of your caliber. You're well respected.
Thank you.
And I was nervous the first time we did it, but it wasn't until I watched your JDLL series, which you just did your 270th one, I think, yesterday, right?
Yep, I did.
And when I watched that, I said, "Oh man, this is my guy. I love Steve.
Thank you.
I love it." Do you want to tell the people about it? What JDLL is?
Well, JDLL stands for Jew Defending Life and Liberty, and
Right,
after October 7th, really October 8th, not even
right,
so much October 7th, because October
right.
7th was a horrible day. And it occurred to me, I'm gonna try to do this without getting choked up. So I lived my life as
Yeah,
a
I
son
apologize.
of a
It froze up.
Holocaust survivor.
It froze up a little bit, Steve. Go ahead. Start over.
Um, I grew up the son of a Holocaust survivor, so the Holocaust was very much part of my family dynamic, if you will.
Right.
My wife is the son of the daughter, not the son, the daughter of two Holocaust survivors. So growing up, the term "never again" meant something to us. And when October 7th happened, and then seeing sort of the protest around, all I kept thinking was, man, did we screw up? I mean, whatever promise we had to that generation, we broke. It was so I felt a need to do something. I felt a need to just speak out, speak truth to power. I know a lot about Israel. I've been there numerous times.
Right.
Matter of fact, I went after October 7th. So, and to hear a lot of the falsehoods being told, I felt the need to do something. And most of us now, I love this term legacy media because that's what it is. We don't get our news from regular media anymore. We don't turn on the news and we get our news literally from what our social media feeds are. So I decided to just speak and speak about my feelings, speak truth. Everything I put on, I make sure it's fact checked. There's a term called it's a Hebrew term called emes, which means truth, but it's
Right.
sort of a spiritual truth as well. And I felt like a need to just speak truth, and that's what I do. And I've done it 270 times. I do it 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I've done it in Israel when I was there, and just showing people um, the reality of the situation, the pain of the situation, and trying to put humor in there because that's how we survive. It's you can't always grieve, and That's what I do, and that's where most of my time has been, creative energy has been towards recently.
Right. And I gotta say, kudos to you because you do you will show web pages and stuff like that, and it is very factual. But what I love is you get so animated, and it's like I said, it just I said, man, this guy's totally different than what I thought you were.
Thank you.
No, I love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I hesitate to say this, but I did share it with you before, and I've thought about it since, started watching these, and I've been watching them with you, and I enjoy them. I told you my grandfather was Jewish, my grandmother was Polish, and that was my dad's side of the family, and my mom her was German. And it's funny because even though we were never, when I was a kid, we went to a Lutheran church.
Right.
And it's funny how you've shed some light to me about Jews and Jewish faith, and what's right, what's wrong, not only with that, but what's going on in the world.
Oh, absolutely. The world is crazy. The world is so um, nuts right now, and I think people are thriving on fighting and being nuts and being. I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, I heard, and I'm a trained psychologist, or almost. I have a master's degree in clinical psychologist. I heard a doctorate in psychology on TV saying, well, if people in your family voted the way you didn't like them to vote, don't have them over for
I
Thanksgiving.
saw that too.
I mean, it's like, what are you nuts?
Yeah,
What psychologist tells
I saw
people
that.
to divorce from their families? I mean, we live in a society where there's enough alienation, and you're telling people, your father voted for this one. Don't have anything to do with them. That's just nuts.
Well, you mentioned, and Steve, I got to be honest, it took me a couple years ago. I used to love Lester Holt and NBC News, and then one night Lester Holt started talking shit because I knew, and I thought, what are you trying to sell me, bud? And it
Right.
was, a couple years ago, I started to realize that the news, mainstream media, I think is what you called it is bullshit. If you
It
want
is
real
bullshit.
facts, you have to do some searching online and credible sources and say this is what it really is. What Lester Holt or any of these news people are talking about is and I think also you can get CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, depending on what you're watching. You know, right?
Right. No, absolutely.
Like Sinclair. I told my neighbor she loves the National News Desk or whatever it's called.
Right.
And I told her, I
Right.
said, that's Sinclair, and it's always going to be, pro Trump. And she's like,
Right.
no, it's not. I'm like, well, it is. Sinclair is,
Yeah.
that's just the way Sinclair
Right.
media is.
Right. And everything they try to relate every story to Donald Trump. That's the most amazing.
You're
It's
right.
like, I mean, my God, it's hot today, and Donald Trump is against climate change. I mean, just give me the fucking weather. It's just like not every story is about Donald Trump, but this is
Relative humidity's up. Fucking Donald Trump did that.
it's just very what the they call it legacy media or mainstream media. Just this like the world is on fire. Everything is
Hey,
they
Steve,
just want to keep people
there you
arguing
go.
with each
There's your
other,
Donald
and
Trump
it's just
talking doll.
yeah, it's just
There it is.
horrible. It's just so it's horrible, and it's also it's irresponsible. I mean, it's just totally irresponsible
Well,
as far as
I
I'm
love he's
concerned.
not even in office. It's like when he went last time. They were
Right.
they were uh they started protesting when he was at the inauguration. he
Right.
didn't
I mean, everything
even
is,
get into
and
office and they're
every.
already
I
protesting.
love the fact that people were protesting his cabinet picks, and then you
Yeah,
ask people, well, who's on the cabinet now? I don't know.
yeah,
So how
right.
are you protesting something when you don't even know who's on it now? But they are. It's just like, oh my God, he picked a Fox News person. It's just like, Jesus, yeah. I
Uh,
don't get me started.
no, no, because we're gonna shift gears because you and I talked about this a little bit about some topics and things that just and I wrote down a couple because I thought I love when you get and we discussed it when you get animated like that, you get wound up and all these are to try and wind you up a little bit.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to start with
Thank you.
last night. I was watching Monday Night Football, and there was a new Jardians commercial. Did you happen to see it?
No, I didn't see the new one, but I've seen them all. Oh my God. I hate those commercials. I mean, first of all, my wife is a doctor. My daughter is a doctor. Who are these commercials for? Just answer me this. Who are these commercials for? If you go to your doctor's office and you say, I want to be on this drug because I saw the commercial, it's not time for a new drug. It's time for a new doctor, for God's sakes. And you know which commercial? I mean, we talked about the Giants commercial. The worst one is the Cola Guard commercial. Did you see the
Yeah.
Cola Guard? Where the guy is singing about putting his shit in the mail? Come on.
Well, the
And
last
again, who is that for? I mean, I don't understand. Doctor, I want to get Cologuard because I want to put my shit in the mail. Your doctor will tell you if you need to put your shit in the mail. You don't need to see it on the. And what really I hate about these commercials, people with stage 4 cancer are doing more than I'm doing. They're mountain climbing. They're having kids. They're breastfeeding. Right?
okay.
Oh, if you're
I got
you're taking
stage four
some for
cancer.
stage 4 cancer, if you're thinking about having sex and having a child, do not take this drug. Well, and I
Okay,
like when they
let's
say
let's
also,
move on to the next subject. Are you ready?
yes.
I'm just pulling these out now. Pink cocaine. What do you think about that?
Who?
Pink cocaine.
What's that?
Pink cocaine.
Pink cocaine?
You don't know about that?
No, I don't know about that.
That's what that Liam Payne. He just died from pink cocaine.
I have no idea what pink cocaine is. What is
Well,
pink
it's a
cocaine?
special. It's I think they call it Tussie. Tusi. Tussie. It's a
I
combination.
have to talk
It's a
about that. What is that?
combination of ketamine, MDMA, coke, meth, and a couple other little accoutrements.
Oh no, I don't know about that. Shoot! Wow,
Pink cocaine.
I never heard about
Oh,
this.
you
I mean,
will, Steve. You will.
I will. I'm sure I will. Yeah, I don't know what is. You know what I don't know? What's the drug that everyone that's trying to stop? What is that?
Fentanyl.
Fentanyl. Do they put that in on purpose in the drugs? I never understood that.
Well,
Or
yeah,
is it like a byproduct, or is it to get people high? And it seems so. Look, and I have a drug history too, but
yeah, me
the
too.
drugs today seem so much more lethal than the ones in the past, and it's just like, you're really playing Russian roulette. There's also I used to have in my set. They created something. I think it was for heroin. You can check whether your heroin has fentanyl in it.
Yeah.
Right. So I had this whole bit. It's like, all right, so you have this addict. He gets this thing, and it says, oh, he just spent a couple $100 on heroin, and it's just like, oh, well, there's a little fentanyl. Do you think he's gonna throw it out? I mean, he's gonna say, oh, come on, we'll smoke around it.
Look around it.
I mean, yeah. I just
Uh,
we're,
no, and
we're
that's
really.
I actually like okay, I'll move on to the next one. You don't know about this one either. Well, I thought you knew about pink cocaine. This one happened the other night in the local news I'm in York, Pennsylvania. I think it was here in York or Harrisburg, Lancaster, somewhere around this area. A 25-year-old woman got fired from her job at the nursing home because she was stripping a little bit and letting the old guys, pat her on the butt. And
Can I have her number?
I, what
Good
gets me
for
about that?
her.
Well, I try to think of who turned her in. Probably the old guy that didn't get any.
Good for her. I mean,
Well, and she said, I was just trying to cheer them up.
yeah,
She was showing
yeah.
their boobs. She'd show boobs and this and that, and they fired her.
Why?
She was probably
I
great for the
I'd
nurse.
give her a raise. My God, why would they fire her?
I Steve,
I
I
mean,
just
if she wasn't charging and all that, it's like, why would they fire her? Put
well, I think
grandpa in the bed, so he's got some excitement. Good for her. That used to be very common. Um where they did that with old people, where they would. I guess that's not common anymore. So
who knows the world we're living in. Um, Here's the next one, and again, I don't know vabbing. Do you know what vabbing is, Steve?
is that vaping?
No, not vaping. Vabbing.
What's vabbing?
Vabbing is a women. There's one girl made it real popular, and it's you can actually Google it. Vabbing, Vabbing. It's where a woman takes her fingers and rubs them on her snatch, and then takes that and dabs or vabs the juice, and it apparently attracts men.
Apparently, also tracks cats because I think I've been seeing women, being followed by a whole bunch of felines. Really?
I'm telling you the truth.
No shit.
The question I had was, wouldn't it depend on the hygiene of the woman?
I would think, and don't they also sell this deodorant now to get rid of that smell? Like, so I'm all confused. Like, what's right? What's wrong? I mean, they sell this deodorant. It 4 out of 5, 5 gynecologists recommended you use this deodorant. So I guess the fifth gynecologist is the one who recommends this vabbing. Wow, no, I never heard of that. It's
Now
crazy.
this one you did know about. You didn't know about vabbing, but anal bleaching, you knew about that.
Well, that I've heard
See,
about.
now I
I've heard of.
didn't. I didn't know till Joe Lane Ray was on the show, and she's in Los Angeles, and she was telling me that Scott, it's a real thing, and I said, no, I heard about it, but she was talking about that. There in L.A., you got to get your butthole, get that
Oh, it's
straightened
the
out.
hair. Is it the anus itself?
Well, it's anal bleaching. It's changing your ringtone.
Oh,
It's 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 I I just it's kind of like you said. You know what? I don't even know if I can say this. It's my own
is this like
show, and
a
I'm
whole
afraid to say it.
new commercial for Clorox? You can use it for your clothes and your butt.
Yeah, right, right. Well, I just can't imagine. Well, there's a lot. Jokes about eating ass leave a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't. No, I'm.
You
I
fell ass backwards into that one.
well, first off, if a guy's eating ass, uh, again, I hesitate to even say this, but and again, whether you eat ass or not, but if you're gonna eat ass, let's just hypothetically say you're gonna eat ass. Are you gonna say, well, that thing looks a little nasty? You're already eating ass.
I agree. I agree. This is
I'm
this,
sorry,
and
Steve.
so many comedians talk about that. I'm like,
I've run
oh
this,
my God. It's
I've run
just
this
like,
thing.
oh,
I've run this thing into the ground.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm not.
Steve, I'm sorry. I don't even know what. Right now, I'm not getting enough oxygen. Right now.
Well, maybe because you're eating too much. That would suck up all the oxygen there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe, maybe, maybe I ate some bad ass. What
Oh
do you think about the
God.
price of eggs in Egypt?
What's the price of eggs in Egypt?
About 60 cents.
Oh, is it? Well,
60
an
cents.
egg or a dozen?
According to
Wow,
Google,
moving to
I wanted to
Egypt.
look it up because I thought, well, maybe Steve, would have talked about that a little bit.
Wow. I just can't believe how things that used to be like so cheap. Like
Yeah.
you used to go around, you're in the store and you'd say, a bag of potato chips is $1.99. All right, I'll buy it for a snack. Now it's like $6.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the
Exactly.
stuff you used to buy for like an egg. I mean, you say, I'll make an omelet. It's like, what is it, $6 a dozen? It's
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
$6.
I'm not eating eggs.
Yeah, well, and I told you you were impressed that I was getting my turkey. I used the
Yes.
points to get a free turkey.
I never make the points. I never make the cutoff. I always start good, like the Jets. You win that first game, I get my $150 purchase in, and then I forget about it, and then
Right.
it's Thanksgiving, and then that's it. And
Well,
then for
and I got
me,
to tell you, I didn't
and
get
you
I
know,
didn't.
we buy kosher turkeys, so you
Okay.
know, I have to put a second mortgage on my house for Thanksgiving to buy a freaking turkey.
I didn't tell you, I because I told you I get them through the prescriptions.
Mhm.
Because I
Oh,
got my
right.
prescriptions there, they gave me 100 points for each. I went yesterday, and the first thing I did was go to the
You
counter
get
and
it
say,
for your Jardians
"How
and
many
your
for my?"
Cola Guard.
Stop it,
That's
Steve!
why. That's why you're watching these commercials. I'll just get these drugs to
Stop
get
it,
my
Steve!
goddamn
Stop it!
turkey.
Stop it! I got to tell you, I went to the store and I went to the customer service. How many points do I have? Sir, you have 150. 150? How am I getting my turkey for 400? I actually had to go to the manager and say, look, go back to the pharmacy. And, well, sir, just go get your turkey.
Oh, that's nice.
You know what I
I
got, Steve?
one year I was able to trick them and I bought gift cards, but they put a stop to that. They quickly squashed that.
Well, and I guess the part Jewish that I am, I bought a 25 or I got a 25-pound turkey. I got the biggest turkey I could get.
There you go. Right.
I figure it'll freeze. Well, my
It'll
friend,
freeze,
listen, I
right?
don't
25. I'll feed the whole town for 25,
absolutely,
25 pound turkey.
absolutely. So anyone that's it's the place to come for Thanksgiving, come to
Do
your
you,
com.
I always wanted to, where they drop it with the barbecue
Oh, deep
turkey. Do you
fry
do
it. My
that?
brother does that. He deep fries it.
Oh, wow. I always wanted to try that. Is that good?
Yeah, it's weird though because you're always afraid it's gonna light the house on fire.
Well, that's what someone said, that it's really dangerous. And
Yeah,
I literally, you know how when people say I've served two duties, two terms or
yeah,
whatever,
right.
veterans, I've served my tours of duty when I barbecue. I am such a dangerous barbecuer. I've burnt off my eyebrows. I've burnt off my hair from my. I am just so dangerous
Hey,
barbecue.
Steven, that's just lighting it, right?
Yeah, just lightening it. Or one day I have one day I have barbecue, and literally the barbecue's on fire, and like I'm just there, you know, flipping the burgers, and the fire's going, and everyone's saying, "Steve, what are you doing?" I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "The fire's all the way up." Yeah, I'm just so yeah. If I die, it may be in the barbecue.
Well, and since you brought it up, I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it. I saw a post, I think it was yesterday, that your wife asked you to put the soup on the stove.
Yes. So I wake up. My wife makes chicken once in a while. Makes chicken soup, and it was delicious. And I
Right.
said, "Oh, I'd like chicken soup for lunch." And she said, "Okay, take out the soup and put it on the stove." So I did that, and we're sitting there for like a half hour. And she says, "I don't smell anything." I said, "What do you want to smell?" She said, "Did you put it on the stove?" And I still didn't get it. And I said, "Yeah, I did." She said, "Did you stop the stove?" I said, "No." She said, and she looked at me, and I'm like, "You said put it on the stove.
Steve,
You said put it on the stove."
Steve. Then you have to turn it
So
off.
I thought she wanted it to get to room temperature and then heat
What
it.
are you? Maybe you better look into some of those prescription drugs. Maybe Prevagen.
Maybe I've been taking too many of those drugs.
Something's going on with you.
And I had no clue. I thought, here I am, you know, it was a big heavy pot and I'm putting it on the stove and so proud of myself. Sit down, then we go watch Prices Right, and then it's like, what the hell?
Oh my God.
She's kept me
I
for 30 years. Can you believe it?
Yeah, and like I said, I wasn't going to bring it up, but you mentioned your barbecuing skills, and pretty much, Steve, just take this for the next time that she asks you, turn the stove on too, or turn the burner on.
I I guess so. I mean, yeah, yeah, I have their mental, like, you know, those salads that you buy those
Right.
portable salad,
Yeah.
in a bag, and you put all
Yeah.
the. For like years, I wouldn't know how to do it. I said, "Can you make it for me?" And she said, "Yeah." And then she said, "Well, why don't you do it yourself?" And I literally said, "I don't know how to do it." And I didn't realize all you do is open up the bag and put all the ingredients in. Yeah, I'm absent-minded.
No,
I
my brother shocked me one day. You have to excuse me, my nose is running. He said about my meatloaf because I love to cook. Could
Oh,
cook
do
like
you?
yeah, like tomorrow I'll do or Thursday I'll do stuffing. And my buddy, I laughed.
Nice.
My buddy said, "Well, that's not hard. You just open up the box and boil." No, you idiot! Not stovetop, real stuffing with cutting up
Right,
the onions
right,
and
right.
celery and all that. But I love to cook. But I remember my brother said to me one time about meatloaf. Man, brother, I love your meatloaf. I don't know how to make it. I thought, meatloaf? You don't know how to make meatloaf? That's there's no real puzzle to making meatloaf, by the way.
Meatloaf is a weird food because if it's made right, it could be delicious. If it's made wrong, it's the worst food to eat. So it's like one of those things. It's like when you cook a turkey's a turkey, right? It doesn't really matter. But meatloaf, good meatloaf tastes great. Bad meatloaf tastes like spam. I mean, it could be horrible. My mother used to make the meatloaf and put like a hard-boiled egg inside the meatloaf. That was so cool.
Yeah, like I said, there's not a lot to it. Basically, it's meat and bread, and then an egg, and put some ketchup in there and stir it around, and you got meatloaf.
Yeah, well,
I'm no Gordon Ramsay when it comes to cooking. Well, my friend, we don't have a lot of time left. I want to make sure that we cover everything. Obviously, JDLL 271, 271 will be later today,
yeah.
right? I'll try and get over. I always try and
Thank
watch. I
you.
enjoy the heck out of them. And I think the world of you, and I want to thank you from the
Thank
bottom of
you.
my heart for all you've done for me. You've sent me so many comedians and continue to
Thank you.
support me, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I mean that sincerely.
You're an incredible guy.
Ah, stop it, stop it.
You're genuine. I love people who are genuine, and there are very few people who are genuine. And even if I don't disagree with someone, but if someone's genuine, they're genuine. They are who they are, and you are who you are, and that's great.
Yeah, I can't. I'm too old. At 62 years old, I'm not. Leopard doesn't change its spots. I'm not going to be something I'm not.
I think we're of that generation. I'm 63, and where our main sort of objective in life was always to be genuine and honest and frank, and
Yeah,
I don't know what happened that people aren't like that anymore and
yeah,
open. It's I remember like being in school and loving being on the debate team. I loved a good debate,
right.
loved it.
Yeah,
No one wants to debate now. Now forget it. Now it's you can't even people can't even like take the other side. um One of the things about being on the debate was like you had to take both sides of an issue and debate it, either even if you didn't agree with it.
right,
So,
right.
people don't know how to do that anymore,
Well,
unfortunately.
I think kindness is part of it too. I think the internet has created. You can just click and tell somebody to go screw themselves, and you wouldn't do that back in our day. You didn't have that.
No,
Like
absolutely.
I look at our relationship, Steve, because of our love for music and stuff like that. Like for instance, I'll just real quickly, you had concert tickets to Boy George and Squeeze, and you were trying to get rid of them. And I said, "Oh man, go see him. Go see Squeeze. You're going to love Squeeze." And I love those videos you posted. I just, we bonded because of our being genuine and love for music and football, and just being genuine is so
I
important.
have to say there are some concerts. I go to a lot of concerts. Some are good, some are
Yeah,
bad, and
right.
the best concert is when you go and you don't expect
Yeah,
good things. And even my wife, it's like, oh, it's Boy George. We have a lot going on in our life, and
right,
don't
right.
want to get into that. And we said, all right, it was at Central Park, and we were standing the whole time because there was no seat. But Squeeze was
They're a great band.
amazing.
Yeah.
They were a great band. I mean, certainly one of the most Like if I ever have a chance to go see Squeeze again, I
You
am
will.
running.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They are
I
the
got to
most
meet him and everything. You know, I worked. I mean, I got
right.
to meet all those guys, Paul Carrick, and because he's the one that actually sang "Tempted," and just to be with those guys, I saw him several times. Just love them, love Squeeze.
Yeah, and they say I love it when people look like they're having a great time on
Oh, they do,
stage, and
yeah,
they look like they're having a great
they're
time
having
on
a great
stage.
time.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, you told me a joke and we talked about it. I hope you don't mind doing it for your comedy
Sure.
minute. Do your comedy minute. You do that? You want it, or you can do whatever you want. It's your
No, I'll
comedy
do
minute.
that joke because I love
No,
that joke. I love that
okay.
joke.
Well, let me do a
So
formal
we joke
introduction.
about
Hold on.
it
Let me
used
do a
to be
formal introduction, Steve.
okay.
Okay. Steve
Yeah.
Goldberg, your comedy minute, my friend. Go ahead.
All right. So everything gets canceled lately. God forbid you do a Holocaust joke, but I have to say this is my favorite Holocaust joke.
Okay.
And it just shows you how to survive. You have to laugh. So this woman who had survived the Holocaust was walking with her son down the beach, and she was always sad, but she survived. And she's walking with her son, holding his hand down the beach in Argentina, and suddenly a wave comes and takes the kid and takes the kid out into the ocean. And the woman just breaks down and cries. And she says, God, how can you do this to me? I survived Auschwitz. I can't believe you do this to me. I demand you bring back my son immediately. And suddenly a big wave comes and the son comes back. And she looks at the son and she looks up to God and she says, Excuse me, he had a red hat. So
I,
not my
I,
joke, but it's my favorite joke. One of my favorite jokes of all time. I
I
just
just
love
love
that
it,
joke.
Steve. I just love it, and I got to tell you, and don't take this the wrong way, but I love you. I think you're fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. So are
You're a
you, my man.
wonderful human being, a great comedian, and I wish you and your family nothing but the best. For
Thank you.
the holidays, and
You too.
maybe somehow by miracle of God, the Jets can
Yeah, it's not
maybe
happening.
maybe next year.
Yeah,
I won't see you till next year.
yeah. Maybe next year we'll be saying next year. That's what will happen.
Hey, let me stop the recording so we can talk for a minute off the air. Thank
Okay,
you again
sure.
for everything and
All
have
the
a great
best, my friend.
holiday.
You too.
Hold on.